The passing into law of the Financial Intelligence Centre Amendment Bill, or FICA, has divided lawmakers and business alike. Last week, President Jacob Zuma sent the bill back to Parliament nearly 6 months after it was passed. Now, this after being petitioned by the Black Business Council, it's the BBC, and the Progressive Professionals Forum, who say certain requirements of the bill will criminalise black business. Business Leadership South Africa, on the other hand, contend that the bill has passed muster and that the President should go ahead and ratify it. Ms. Danisa Baloyi is the President of the Black Business Council. She joins us in studio, and we're hoping that during the interview, we're not promising anything, but we're hoping that we're going to be joined as well on the line by the Deputy Chair of the Business Leadership, Bonang Mohale, who we can't get hold of at the moment, but we're so happy that Denise is in studio with us. Good to have you. Thank you so much for being with us.
No, thank you for having me.
All right, let's just get your views straight up front. How are you feeling about it?
Well, let's dispel the myth that the Black Business Council is against the FICA Amendment Bill. That's the first lie. Okay. We're not. We against a few provisions within the bill that we believe violates the Bill of Rights. And I quickly explain what that means. It means that, technically, the power of the lawmakers, the judiciary, and more than anything, the organizations that deal with prosecution, the power will be shifted from them to the banks. Let me put it clearly. When you are an individual and you are defined as a PEP or a PIP, politically influential person, or politically exposed person, your account can be closed. And this is no longer a myth. Members of the Black Business Council have had their accounts closed. No explanation from the banks. And that's what bothers us, which means they are the judge, the jury, and the executioner. They decide that you have done something wrong. Instead of flagging, which is what is in the FICA, people forget this is an amendment. Yeah. It is not the bill itself. We already have a FICA,
an existing bill. These are just amendments to
existing
it.
Act that we're operating under. So the myth that there will be a gap, there will not be. What FATF said we should do, we should be in line with the international arena as far as financial laws and intelligence are concerned. FATF is a voluntary organization, but it has said the regulation should be in line with the constitution of the countries that will apply that. But we believe, in our case, the power of the hawks, the power of the police, etc., will be shifted. I will have no right to be heard. Okay. It violates the audi alteram partem, which means the right to be heard.
All right, let me interrupt you now. We've got Bonang on the line now.
Sure.
Bonang Mohale is of course joining us on the line this morning, and he is the Deputy Chair of Business Leadership. Bonang, thanks for your time. Thank you very much for joining us, for your comments this morning.
Leon, thank you very much.
All right. Now, your organization, along with the Banking Association of South Africa and Business Unity South Africa, say that the bill is crucial in the fight against money laundering and other corrupt financial practices, and that the BBC's concerns have been addressed. How so? Give us your view.
Sure. So thank you very much. So firstly, I'm also a member of the BBC since its founding, but also the Deputy Chair of the BLSA. So we really believe that none of the objections raised are well-founded, either in law, policy, or even the Constitution. This also includes the single concern raised by the President, namely that Section 45B, Article 1C of the amendment, may be, in his words, impermissibly overbroad and may unjustifiably violate the right to privacy because it allows for this notion called warrantless searches. But already similar provisions for warrantless searches exist in other South African legislation, such as the Criminal Procedures Act, and are compatible with the Constitution. The powers to be given to the FIC in respect of warrantless searches extend only to accountable institutions as defined in the Act and do not extend to private individuals. Yeah. So as a member of the BBC, I'm not affected by this at all, unless I'm a criminal, a thief, and a terrorist.
Yeah.
So,
Danisa, sorry, Bonang, one second. I just want to get Danisa, and if I can ask you to keep your answers quite short.
Yes.
You're worried that this is going to hamper progression for black businesses in particular.
Yes.
Why? I mean, you've heard what Bonang has to say.
It's very, in my opinion, very sad, because obviously the Banking Council will agree because it's protecting its members. Our members, on Friday, I had 3 who came across and said their accounts have been closed. I wouldn't have a problem, Leanne, if they told you why your account is closed. I didn't want to use a personal example.
Yeah.
I went into the bank. I wanted to put an investment, open an investment account. I was told I am a prominent, a politically influential individual. You know why? Because I've chaired Denel, I have chaired the Road Accident Fund, I've chaired all these institutions.
Yeah.
And once a PEP, always a PEP. To be flippant and say that this will not violate people's rights is not entirely correct. It's not a figment of our imagination. It is happening right now.
You're speaking from personal opinion.
Personal experience, but I don't want to talk about myself.
Yeah.
I want to talk about other people, an ordinary business person who goes to the bank. And then, the response, go and go to court. How do you go to court when your account is frozen? Yeah. How do you do that? How do you defend yourself if your account is frozen? We agree. We do not want money laundering. We do not want criminal behavior. We do not. And all of those things are covered by FICA as we speak. Yeah. The United Nations Article 52 that was supposed to apply says make sure that these are in line. But I can tell you at the moment, we have made sure that we creep in some other provisions. Why is it that the banks and everybody else are not included in the definition of PIPs and PEPs? Yeah. They are not. Let us bring everybody. 56 million of us under this thing and see if we'll all be this gung-ho. Okay. We all don't want corruption.
Let me very quickly just bring Bonang into this. I mean, you're hearing a personal story, and Bonang, you're happy, you're keen to get this passed as soon as possible, and yet we've got stories that are happening in reality. Do you not feel that the banks should not be doing this?
You see, like I said, this legislation is geared towards institutions. And yes, it talks about politically associated persons. But right at the heart of it, it says this is about the prevention of money laundering, white-collar crime, corruption, terrorism, and other nefarious financial activities. South Africa has been a global leader on these issues, but we now risk becoming a pariah. It is vital that this act is signed into law as soon as possible. The amendment is critical in the fight of all of these. And remember, for us, it's a continuation of a 16-year-old legislation. In 2001, that's when it was enacted. We joined the Financial Action Task Force in 2003. As if that's not enough, in 2004, we decided to join the United Nations Conventions Against Corruption. But also recently, we committed to implement the G20's high-level principles on beneficial ownership transparency. Through these actions, South Africa has created a valuable and deserved reputation for taking seriously the combating of money laundering and the financing of terrorism. We don't want our country to become known as a soft target for criminals. Why is it that the IMF, the OECD, the Basel Committee on Banking Supervision, the G20, the World Bank, and other international organizations that are now currently all monitoring closely South Africa, all encouraging us to sign this absolutely world-class legislation, and only a few individuals are opposed to it. And then lastly, remember, Lee-Ann, that there was a process that was undertaken to ensure that all South Africans are actually part of this process. The parliamentary hearings were open to everybody, and at that time, there was not a single person that raised a constitutional issue, including submissions from all sorts and manners of people. In May 2016, that's when this was put in front of the president to sign. When did we suddenly wake up to say, but there's one issue with it, therefore we have to throw the baby with the bathwater?
All right. Bonang, I have to leave it there for this morning. And Danisa, I know you're desperate to respond, but I just don't have the time.
Yeah, but it is wrong. It is wrong for Bonang to end up in a manner that makes it like the BBC is for money laundering, for terrorism.
Yeah.
It is totally debilitating. I think it is wrong for us to give a platform to someone who should have been part of this process. As a member of the BBC, as the president of the BMF, he never participated. It would have been helpful. He didn't. However, the Americans, where FATF is, have said, we don't believe that this thing fits in with our regulations. Yeah. We have the FBI. Why should we take the powers from the FBI? We want this law to be passed, but it must not violate my rights as a citizen of this country.
And there we leave it for this morning. Danisa Baloyi, thank you very much for talking to us. A heated discussion that certainly is not going to be ending anytime soon. Danisa Baloyi is the president of the Black Business Council, and Bonang Mahali, deputy chair of business leadership. And he added, he's still a member of the BBC as well. Let's take a break. We'll see you after this.